Okay, greetings, brothers and sisters. Today is Friday, May 22nd. I was going to include this all in my video. My last video, it's going to be a longer video. It's almost like a two-part. I had a physical issue last night, and I'm less tired than I thought because I didn't get much sleep. Um, but I feel pretty good today. But anyways, this is a continuation, and just the whole fucking depravity of it all. Tucker Carlson being a piece of shit in a second. Two annoying people here with Candace Owens and Hunter J. Biden. The Republican Party supposedly turning on Trump. And Colbert quitting, or, whatever the fuck that was. And I'll go through the things, right? And it's profound and there's so much stuff that's late to the fucking party, right? You know, um, there were these prophecies given in the Sage Mark system, the meditation I do, right? There was the original prophecy given, I think, in 1956. The book was published called Reality at Dawn, and there was a part called My Vision, which I've read here, and it describes you know, a, an end to the current system and the beginning of something spiritual, with something, a world built on spirituality as its base, is the exact quote, a foundation of connection to divinity. And that, the old system was going to end horribly, and then something better was going to take its place with people being motivated. And then there was these whispers of the brighter world prophecies, this French woman who gave more of these channeled messages and very specific prophecies, one of which was that in 25 years there'll be an event, and all these bad events, all these, not bad events, but, um, you know, consequential events were going to take place, and to the date of Trump launching the war with Iran, right? Which we'll get into a little bit about that. Oman sort of trying to profit off of the Strait of the Hormuz. There's that coming up as well, right? And so in the system, we all had access to this information. And so me and my family started to prepare. Our kids and, whatever it was. I mean, my ex, you guys have heard the stories about that. But, we went we did homesteading and all these other things. And when we brought this back to our brothers and sisters in the mission, they kind of freaked out and were dickish about it across the board. And this piece of shit, Kamlesh Patel, who's finally released these prophecies on, they put these emails out called A Whisper a Day. And he finally put the prophecies out there for everyone to read. And, nobody's going to read them or do shit about it. But I went and presented the information from him, and he just was a dick about it. And, he was just a weak piece of shit person. He turned out to be weak and a piece of shit person. I didn't know that at the time. Like, he was going to be the next master of the system, and I just wanted to see if there was any interest in, supporting what we were doing and, bringing it back to your so-called support system and your family. And somebody overheard a conversation that he had with two women who ended up like being total pieces of shit later on, longtime practitioners of the system. And one of the women came up and said the other woman asked him about our family doing what we were doing. And he said, well, they had the right idea. They just started too soon. And I'm like, I know that I didn't start soon enough, right? Like, I'm not prepared now. And I'm so much more prepared than that was 2012. So 2014, I guess. So, 11 years ago. And I'm much more mentally prepared and, even physically prepared. And it's just, no one's going to be prepared for what's going to happen. But, like, you have to start, when they say the time to plant a tree is last year, right? But if you can't do it then, the best day to do it, like, is this year, like these kind of things. So, there's all of the things that I've said here. And I'm saying that because these late to the party motherfuckers are just realizing information and consciousness that was out there in the truth community. They just rejected it, right? So, in all that, let's go to these two annoying motherfuckers.
The idea that you feel unsafe in the United States of America because you disagree with the current administration on a issue that 70% of Americans agree with you on. We need to stop the wholesale murder of a population in Gaza. Whatever you think about my father's policy as it relates, I always say to people, you know one thing he didn't do? He didn't greenlight to turn Gaza into a Trump golf course, with the maitre d' being Jared Kushner with $4 billion in Saudi money.
It's despicable.
Despicable.
Yeah. Despicable, tasteless, indefensible. And
it's not a joke, though, is my point.
It wasn't a joke, and that is the deal.
And that's what they're doing, literally doing. And by the way, they're doing it out in the open. I mean, it's not as if they're hiding it in any way. And you had a...
Yeah, because you were doing crack out in the open, and your father was senile out in the open. And, now you have a problem with fucking, what? Like people just being completely limp dick and having no leverage and no ability to change anything. So the whole thing is just a joke. Like, you guys had a chance to tell the truth years ago. Not that it would have fucking mattered. This is going to happen no matter what. But, don't come to the fucking party late and then think that you're, like you have... I mean, the whole video is about being late to the fucking party. I used to think being right was important, in terms of all of it. But it's just painful. Like, it's just, especially when you're right about something like this. And, I mean, I told you so. Well, it doesn't feel that great. Like, it just, I told you so. It doesn't feel that great. That should be the name of this video. Because it just doesn't. Like, it would have been great if I told you so was never a part of it. It was like you have an idea, you see something, and you say it to other people, they respond, and you guys all, or whatever it is, right? Like the people who see will talk, and the people who don't see at the moment will trust, and then everyone will go, in the right direction, and then, but it doesn't happen. Like people don't get it. Like, it's not so much about trust, it's you see something, you tell somebody about it, and they see it as well. Or they see it, and they actually... Because I think lots of people see it. You just don't want to change. You don't want to do anything about it. And so, this is a big, it's a big fuck you to the whole thing. Like, no one should feel like a fucking victim, right? No one should feel like a victim. Everyone should realize they had ample opportunity to change and do something different, and you chose not to, right? Every fucking single person. Don't fucking whine when shit goes down because you were warned in every capacity, in every possible way, at every level. And you didn't do anything to avoid what's about to happen. So, go fuck yourself, right? When you start whining and being a victim, you had the opportunity. Donald J. Trump, this is his most recent truth. He's a real Donald Trump. Colbert is finally finished at CBS. Amazing that he lasted so long. No talent, no ratings, no life. He was like a dead person. You could take any person off the street and they would be better than this total jerk. Thank goodness he's finally gone. You could replace this Colbert with Trump. Talking about himself because it's exactly the same thing. I mean, a person off the street couldn't grift as well as Trump. But he could, people could fuck up as bad as him. Or not, I mean, I don't think anybody would do a worse job than Trump. Like, he's a perfect fucking piece of shit to take the country down. God willing, like this is a God, he's doing God's work unintentionally. But, like just, yes, Colbert sucks, but not as bad as you. Like, you can talk about how everyone else sucks, but you suck the worst. I mean, he's just, in terms of, Colbert sucks at his job, you suck worse at your job. Like, if there was a competition, you would lose. Or win, depending on if it was who could suck the worst or not. And it would be Trump. I want to say something about this, because I appreciate mocking. When Trump used to mock people, they could give it back to him, right? And he didn't like that, obviously, because he's a fucking puss. But, that's how it works. Like, if you, I grew up in a place where, people busted your balls, and some of it I don't like if it's just, just being a dick to be a dick. But, like, if it's funny or whatever it is. But it keeps you humble. Like, and there's things about it that it's, there's a positive thing for it. There's this thing called Illit, Kill It, and Zill It in Sajmark's system. And it's 3 things you need to be a saint. A little less than good health. Not sickly, but, where you're, Your health isn't great, and you're a little less money than you need, and critics, because all those things help you be moderate. They help you, not overindulge, right? These things with your health and money and things, and of course, critics keep you humble in a different way. And so, it's okay for this kind of stuff. I mean, if it's done in a way that's not, nasty or just with bad intentions or whatever, right? There's a pussification of our culture where everyone's supposed to be nice and talk sweetly to people, but that doesn't help people out. Not that most of this stuff is done to help people, but there's two things in Sajmarg: the miseries as divine blessings, and takes wrongs done by others as heavenly gifts. Maxims 5 and 7 out of 10, right? Two of them are devoted to how these things benefit you, right? Because people who do wrong things to you help clean out all the negativity, and just like illnesses and troubles and difficulties, it's a great way to look at life, where these things are a blessing, right? Things that you don't like are blessings. So that's all okay, but if it's done in a way like Trump is doing it, where he's announcing Stephen Colbert sucks, we can all have an opinion about Stephen Colbert or anybody else, and everyone on the internet has an opinion. But that opinion isn't like, this gilded, golden opinion of some great leader, and whatever he says is reality. And that's what fucking is fucked about this thing with Trump. Like, he believes what his reality is reality. And when you believe that shit, like, if you don't realize you have a specific lens, when I say things here, I'm aware of my lens, and of course, when you're being on a spiritual path, your lens becomes more purified to where it's eventually God's lens, where you can see the world through God's eyes, right? And your ego has been so obliterated, or minimized, that you don't really have much of a lens. But Trump lens is so fucking distorted, right? I mean, not that Colbert doesn't suck, but Trump sucks way worse. But no one can say that to him, right? He's insulated completely. But anybody who's just out there talking shit about him, like Trump, can't fucking handle it, because it's like you guys don't see me as the greatest leader of ever, so. I mean, that's where he's just lost his shit, right? All right, so this is a piece to it.
The most unlikely puppet in Iran. Stunning new details tonight breaking about a U.S.-Israeli plan to install the former Iranian President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad back in power. Now, he, of course, is a hardliner. Now, the New York Times is revealing the existence of this plan. Which
are they revealing this plan? These hard-hitting journalists at the New York fucking Times?
Played out like an action movie, even reporting that Ahmadinejad himself was consulted about it. Now, Ahmadinejad was under house arrest as the war began. I mean, he was a hardliner who called for the end of Israel, but he had fallen out of favor with Iran's powerful regime circles, right? He was under house arrest. Now, then Ahmadinejad gets injured at an Israeli strike near his home on the first day of the war. I don't know if you remember that. I mean, wow, they're going for him too?
Yeah, I remember that. It was fucking crazy. They're going for Ahmadinejad? Wait, they're going to try to get Ahmadinejad? Really? Really, fucking dude? With fucking whatever this dude's name is? Really, they're going for Ahmadinejad? What are they going with Ahmadinejad?
No. The strike was designed to kill the Revolutionary Guard soldiers who were holding him under house arrest.
No way. They were trying to help him? Israel was trying to help Ahmadinejad?
And Ahmadinejad's current whereabouts now are unknown.
Unknown. He's injured and unknown. They blew his dick off.
He has not been heard from since that strike.
You know about that, right? Blowing dicks off.
Which raises major questions, to state the obvious, of where is he?
Where is Ahmadinejad? And why was Israel and America trying to free him from his captors and release him by taking out the guard? Look at this piece of shit, right? So this is what I didn't get to in my last video, because I just was enough of this piece of shit. But this little clip popped up with a little, more specific stuff about Thomas Massey. And here he goes.
Covington. But anyway, there was no such display. And so it makes you wonder, this election itself, was it another part of the humiliation ritual? Was it a way of saying to the rest of us, people who sort of believed in democracy, it's all fake?
Yeah, again, late to the party. So this is stuff I want to revisit, because he had said before, well, if Thomas Massey lost, why should we even vote? And why should he even vote if he wins? Because he's not going to fucking make a difference. And the thing is rigged, My wife sent me something about it. I don't know if I'm going to show it to you. I don't know if I have it up. If I do, it'll probably enter. I'll probably find it, sometime today, and put it in here. That if you look at the voter turnout, there's no way this guy got 10,000 mail-in votes. Like Trump rigged this thing with mail-in votes. Trump whined. I always say this. I mean, I used to always say this. Do you have a problem with the behavior? Like, I got all these people. I used to make fun of Britney Spears. And I had a lot of right-wing dope fucking white people, Christian, Britney Spears lovers. And they would say, oh, she's abused. How can you be so fucking mean? Right, fucking. And I'm just over it. But I would say to them, when I was making fun of Lady Gaga, who was also abused, or Cardi B, who was also abused, right? They all went through the same programs as Britney Spears or whatever the fuck it was. All similar stories. And, I could list all these female celebrities. You guys all thought it was funny when I did it, when I mocked Lady Gaga, or when I mocked Cardi B, who I mocked more than probably anybody, because she was so fucking retarded. And so, if you have a problem with the behavior, then you have it. You're saying you don't like I'm being mean, but it's only because you identify with Britney Spears. It's only because you like somebody. Somebody you don't like, you're perfectly fine to listen to me mock them, right? And so you either have a problem with the behavior or you fucking don't. You don't have a problem only when it suits you, or it goes against when it doesn't suit you because it goes against somebody that you identify with, right? And so, if you want to be a real truthful person, say, all right, I don't like mocking. Then great. Then turn off my channel. And, mocking isn't great, or ignore it, or, look down on it, or whatever the fuck you want to do. But don't like mocking only when it's against somebody you don't like, right? And that's the problem with people. They want to be able to treat people a certain way, when they go against you, but they don't want that same behavior to come back to them, right? And it doesn't fucking work that way. Anyway, so you have these late to the party motherfuckers here who, who pretend that voting fucking matters, and it fucking doesn't. Because, it's not just an Israel problem or a Zionist problem or elite problem. It's everybody. Like, everybody would have to change your orientation to the world. Your lifestyle, our lifestyle hurts other creatures, hurts the planet, hurts other people. We'd have to give things up. We'd have to change the way we do things. The use of fossil fuel, any number of things. And we'd have to listen to God and obey God, and our egos would have to submit to our souls and God, and people just don't want to do that. So fuck off. Like, shut the fuck up. If you're not going to deal with the essential truth about yourself, then what are you talking about this with other people? Right, go back to this.
People sort of believed in democracy. It's all fake. We can get a guy whose last name we can't pronounce elected on a platform everybody in America hates because we can. Because we're billionaires and you're not. And of course our priorities are not aligned with yours. In fact, we hate your priorities and we hate you. We're going to do this to you anyway. Even in Kentucky, we can do it. It's possible that's the message they were sending. Pretty certain, actually. So on one level, this is the saddest moment in a long time.
Is it really saddest moment? For who? For you dumb fucks? I'm not sad. Okay, fucking, I'm not. This was predictable. He wins, it's predictable. Like, what is he going to do if he wins, right? All these people whined about mail-in ballots with Trump, and then he just fucked Thomas Massey with mail-in ballots. That should be enough, but these dumb fuck Trumpers will never figure that out because they don't want it. Just like you didn't want it, you piece of shit, when people were telling you about 9/11 back whenever it was. Or the rest of these things, right? Like, their democracy doesn't work because people suck and they're stupid. And corruption always will overtake something. You have to have something where people choose to be servants of God. Like, that's the only... People choose to be saints. Like, think about it all the time. Think about how they can serve God all the time. In a legitimate way. Privately. Not in some performative way that you're showing everybody off and you're making an Instagram video about it. And you're getting up and pointing to the heavens like Erica Kirk and... I miss you, Charlie. Fucking bullshit shit like that. Shit that he applauded saying that he loved Erica Kirk. This piece of shit, right? Like, fucking tell the truth to yourself, right? Tell the truth to your fucking self, you worthless fucking cunt, right?
Not just the death of Thomas Massey's immediate political career, which may be resurrected, one never knows.
One never knows. He might be president someday. Fuck you. Like, what are you talking about? Like, this is a systemic issue. It shows you the system doesn't fucking work.
It's obviously the death of MAGA, whatever that was. But it's also, of course, the end of the Republican Party as we thought we knew it.
Is this, nothing, it's just an illusion that you had enough information. What I was saying in the beginning of this video, you had enough fucking information. You had a total enough information. You chose to ignore that information, right? That's what this is about. You didn't have to fucking ignore the information, but you chose to. The information's there for everybody, and you personally. Every day we're getting feedback about what we're doing wrong. You're getting off your path. You're going in the wrong direction. You're creating negative circumstances for yourself. You're accumulating grossness. You're accumulating, some scaras. These impressions that you have to pay for later. Everybody's getting that warning every fucking second, every moment, every day, and it's choosing to ignore it. So fuck off. You don't have anything to whine about, right? Like, you've been warned, and you just won't fucking listen. The information was out there. People were talking about the left-right paradigm in 2005, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. The idea that this political system's broken. And you guys still pretended there was a fucking guy out there who's fucking not a part of the system. He's an outsider. He's going to take their shit. And he was, the information about how selfish this motherfucker was, how self-involved, how narcissistic, how fucked up he was, what a creep he was. What kind of elitist. He was the most elitist person ever. He loved the elite. He wanted to be recognized by the elite. He grifted and used people. He would fucking had TV shows demonstrating his lack of character. And you even talked about how you saw he had a lack of character, you and your fucking gay brother. And you still fucking pushed for him anyway. Oh, no, it was our fault. Fuck you. You saw it coming. Everyone saw it coming. Right? And you went along with it anyway.
The Republican Party of right now bears absolutely no resemblance to the Republican Party we thought we had just elected less than a year and a half ago. None at all.
Because he's a grifter, right? The guy was telling you he was a fucking grifter. He showed you over and over he was a grifter. All the fucking information came out about his life and who he was, and all the things he did in his first fucking term, and what he did in the interim between his first and second term. When Joe Biden, everything that he did, all the information came out about it. You chose to ignore all of that shit and push for it. His connection to Israel and all the stuff that he had done. Best friend in the White House Israel's ever had, said Benjamin Netanyahu and everyone else. Fuck are you talking about, right?
Parties are completely different. Its slogans are completely different. It is not the same thing. And maybe there's a working majority somewhere of people who support the new priorities of the Republican Party, but the question would be, where is that?
Wait, where was it before? See, if the Republican Party was good, you guys wouldn't have went for Trump. If the Republican Party wasn't broken, the system wasn't broken, you wouldn't have went for Trump. And if people weren't so obsessed with hating Trump, they wouldn't have elected Joe Biden. Joe Biden was unelectable, and whatever fucking rigging or cheating or not went on with that, people supported a guy who was clearly senile and was a piece of shit, career politician, corrupt as fuck. The system's broken. Those are the two candidates America shit out, after fucking Obama and after fucking Bush and after fucking, who was before him, Clinton, right? Was that who it was? And before that, fucking Bush fucking won. And Reagan and all these, they were all shitty fucking, Reagan was an actor. So there's been nobody good, right? Jimmy Carter was he fucked up and he went down in disgrace, but he was okay person, right? I met the guy once, he shook my hand. I was on an airplane and I didn't know, there's all these things, just coming back from a spiritual gathering. Some guy walked up to me, I'm in the back of the plane by myself, and there's all these Secret Service guys talking into their sleeves, and I'm totally blissed out from the gathering. And Jimmy Carter walks up, and it's my mom's favorite president, right? But, he was a piece of shit, and just like, the rest of them. They're owned, they're corrupted, they're abused, they're fucking, they're not really, they're puppets, whatever. And none of this stuff matters. People suck on it. people can't make their own decisions about the food they eat. How are you going to let somebody vote or own a gun or drive a car when they eat fucking McDonald's foods and they use fucking pharmaceutical meds and, they're killing themselves, right? You walk into Walmart and you see these people walking around with a cart full of cancer and heart disease, choosing to fucking do that, right? Fuck you, fuck everybody. Like, just, this is what we've become. Like, don't pretend it's fucking anything better than that. And there's potential. There has been some saints, some higher developed souls, but most of those people fell, dragged down by the fucking refuse of humanity. And so, there's nothing there. Piece of shit, right? Stop fucking pretending. Like, where you going with this? You're going to talk more about fucking Charlie Shekels?
Haaretz readers clearly do. They think that was the most important race in America. Amazing that they were following it. But in this country, nobody supports this. Nobody does. And so that's not all bad.
It is all bad. Because people can't do shit. Like, you're actually trying to take a victory away from this. I'll just let him finish here and fuck this guy.
And it's not bad because the one thing we know is that nothing will be the same after this. This is too much. They went too far. This is a victory, but it's likely a Pyrrhic victory, actually. Because we now know, because it's been confirmed, how the system actually works. And no, it's not a democratic system.
No, but you should have known 10 years ago or 15 years ago or 20 years ago. Like, now it's too fucking late, right? You get that it's too late. It's whatever. It's a system that's being fucking imploded, which is good because, fucking Americans aren't even happy with all that we have. We have great material lives, and so you can look around how miserable people are and how lonely they are. So, it's fucked anyway. But now you're saying because people now know, people aren't going to do shit, right? People aren't going to do shit about this. They don't care about Thomas Massey. They don't care about democracy. Once their lifestyle gets taken away, they're going to run out and riot like pieces of shit. They're going to get clubbed in the fucking head and brought to FEMA camps or killed. There's going to be mass population reduction, and nobody can do shit about it. And it's because it's fucking what should happen. It's backed by God, right? All this is backed by God because we're a wayward population. We've gone and hijacked our true purpose, which is spiritual evolution. And your bullshit religion, your bullshit politics, which should never mix, but they are, isn't going to solve shit, right? Okay. So I turn on Morning Joe, and they kind of led with this story when they opened up the first part of the hour, right? That the Republicans are finally turning on Trump. They're calling it tyranny, this whole thing, this slush fund he has for January 6th piece of shit that Trump sent up there, the Trump $1.9 billion. They're drawing a line in the sand. Fuck you, right? So this is the story. But instead of reporting on this first, they ran with like a good 20 minutes about Stephen Colbert's last fucking show, right? And I didn't watch it. I just scanned through it. And I didn't want to watch this either because I already had clips about this from yesterday where they're trying to pretend the Republicans are finally standing up to Trump. Like, fuck you, this whole thing. Right, come on. This performative bullshit. But, you're going to get sucked in again after what he just did with Massey and the rest of the fucking bullshit in Israel. And all these guys are all owned by Israel, right? They're not standing up for anything. But there's another story where Oman, an ally of the U.S., is negotiating with Iran to both profit from the closing of the Strait of Hormuz, where they're both going to charge for, they're both going to try to monetize that together. I don't fucking know. Which I'm not sure if that has anything to do with the deal. Netanyahu, Trump are, at odds apparently until, Trump gets on his knees and services fucking Netanyahu. But this is how fucked everything is, right? And the Republicans are pretending we're finally got a fucking backbone.
Coming out of my mouth. Here's Mitch McConnell. So the nation's top law enforcement official is asking for a slush fund to pay people who assault cops. Utterly stupid, morally wrong. Take your pick. It does seem like
this fucking living turtle. Turtle. Does he actually say this, or did he just go blah 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 Mitch McConnell? Is it fucking?
Tonight, as President Trump touts his winning streak with Republican voters, he's facing new opposition from Republican lawmakers on two of his high-profile priorities.
This is bad policy, it's bad timing, and it's bad politics.
No way, Senator Tillis from North Carolina.
The Senate abandoning a planned vote today and leaving town amid GOP infighting over his $1.8 billion anti-weaponization fund, which would pay out compensation to Trump allies who say they were unfairly prosecuted by the Biden administration, possibly including January 6th rioters pardoned by President Trump.
Remember when Trump stuck a knife in their backs? And he came out and he, well, let me see if I can find it after this thing here.
These people don't deserve restitution. Many of them deserve to be in prison.
President Trump recently defending the fund.
The Biden administration was horrible in terms of what they've done to people is incredible.
And some GOP.
Okay, so this is just all this performative fucking gay ass bullshit. Go fuck yourselves for covering this thing like it's real. Okay, so MS Now is doing what I used to do. And so many of us used to do. But now they're all copying it. And here it is.
Do you believe that people who committed violence against Capitol Hill police officers on January 6th should be eligible for compensation from this DOJ fund?
It'll all be dependent on a committee. I do believe there has to be compensation for people that were destroyed. You have families absolutely destroyed.
To those who engaged in the acts of violence and destruction, you do not represent our country. And to those who broke the law, you will pay.
We're not trying to give money to anybody who attacked a police officer. We're trying to we're trying to compensate people where the book was thrown at them. I don't know their individual circumstances, and I don't rule things out categorically when I know nothing about a person's individual circumstances.
If you beat up a cop, of course you deserve to go to prison. If you violated the law, you should suffer the consequences.
Will you encourage them to have a guideline that says those who have been convicted of violent acts against police officers are not eligible?
I will definitely encourage the commissioners to take everything into
Fuckers breathing in their mic like fucking some kind of pedo.
account when determining who should get compensation. I mean, you're asking whether I will encourage. I don't think that's a fair word. I don't think it's the attorney
Someone's breathing into their mic.
general's job to encourage commissioners to do or not do anything.
What would be your position on anybody who does violence against police officers in the past or in the future?
They should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law.
Do you believe that people...
All right, so this hypocritical bullshit, but none of it matters because they don't they don't care. They lie about everything. Everything's a manipulation. Whatever Congress is trying to get out of, Senate's trying to get out of this thing with Trump. Either they're trying to save face or they're trying to fucking milk something. It's all bullshit, and they're finally taking a stand. Fuck you, right?
Today of Iran talking about trying to formalize with Oman a tolling system for the Strait of Hormuz. How does the U.S. view that?
Well, we've always said a tolling system in the Straits would be unacceptable, but we don't just say that. The world has said that. We have a resolution right now in the United Nations. We're trying to take it to the Security Council.
Oh, now you're with the UN.
Sponsored by Bahrain. It has over 100-something. The highest number of co-sponsors in the history of the Security Council have signed on to our resolution. We were in China last week. We mentioned this about the tolling. They're against it. No one in the world is in favor of a tolling system. It can't happen. It would be unacceptable. It would make a diplomatic deal unfeasible if they were to continue to pursue that. So it's a threat to the world if they were to try to do that.
Yeah, it's a threat to the world? Fucking bombing a country with no real reason other than being puppeted by fucking Israel and then having to deal with the consequences of the Strait of Hormuz. That's pretty fucked too, you piece of shit. Trump has pissed off non-voters. This is the title of the CNN video. What's wrong with this lady? She looking at him like, oh, I got to listen to this motherfucker again. It's affecting the midterms. Trump has pissed off non-voters and it's affecting the midterms.
What about those who didn't cast a ballot at all in 2024?
What about those people, Harry Inton?
Those who didn't show
Harry. What about those people, Harry? Come on, Harry.
up to vote. Well, they have become absolutely perturbed. I dare say they are pissed off.
No way, Harry. You're going to say that, Harry. Come on, Harry.
President of the United States. Voters who didn't cast a ballot in 2024. Trump's net approval rating. Back in November of 2024, just after the election, look at his net approval rating. It was plus 4 points for his plans in office. But look at that. It is falling. Yeah.
Oh, go down. Do it again. Just watch him. Look at this visual.
Plans in office. But look at that. It is falling.
Oh,
yeah.
good.
There you go, Sarah Seidner. That's the only sound you can make. It has fallen through the floor. Look at this. Minus 50 points on Trump's net approval rating among voters who did not, in fact, cast a ballot in 2024. That is, you don't have to be a mathematical genius, an over 50-point move against the President of the United States among those who are kind of like, meh, you know, in terms of...
Yeah, meh. Say it again. Meh. Do it again right now. Here we go.
Meh, you know, in terms...
Fuck. All right. This fucking guy. Well, listen to this.
Let me just acknowledge that what I'm about to say is going to seem like a very weird place to start the show.
Okay, Jen Psaki. Filtered out AI Jen Psaki, right? Like the filter is just bad.
But I promise you it is relevant to one of the biggest stories of the day.
No way. Tell us what it is. What is it?
This is Jackie Heinrich. She is a White House reporter over at the Fox News Network. You may have seen her years ago questioning me from the briefing room.
Yeah, that no one saw that. No one would remember that. What were you doing in the briefing room?
And last year, Fox News reporter, again, you see it right there on your screen, Jackie Heinrich, got engaged to this guy on screen, Republican Congressman Brian Fitzpatrick of Pennsylvania.
No way. That fucking guy.
And that's the moment after he popped the question. They're in a lavender field in France. It's all very adorable.
It's so fucking adorable. He's like fucking 70. She's like, I don't know, 35. It's great. It's so fucking adorable. In France, in a lavender field, it's fucking amazing. Exclusive People magazine photo. It's great, Jen Psaki. Where are we going with this?
Now, why am I telling you all of this?
Why are you telling me this, Jen Psaki? I mean, no, it's adorable and all.
You're like, what is happening right now? Because today, that Fox News reporter tried to ask the President of the United States a pretty straightforward question. And this is how he responded.
Do you have a problem with Prime Minister Netanyahu?
But her husband votes against me all the time. Can you imagine? I don't know what's with him. You better ask him what's with him. Her husband is married to a certain congressman. He votes against, he likes voting against Trump. You know what happens with that? It doesn't work out well. I don't know why he does.
Oh, fuck. I'm glad she showed me this because it's actually funny. Good job, Jen Psaki.
Okay, first off, as far as I know, Congressman Fitzpatrick is not quite Jackie Heinrich's husband yet. They're getting married later this spring. But that's beside the point. The point here is this. Donald Trump is making not-so-veiled threats aimed at members of his own party.
All right, so this is, well, doesn't mean shit, right? And even if Trump died fucking tomorrow, the damage has been done, right? The whole fucking thing. Like, the thing's unraveled. Because the American people have not come up with a fucking response, right? Like when evil is coming your fucking way, and it's not just Trump. I mean, Trump has been the face of the evil, but he's just nothing. He's a nothing, a little fucking minor demon or whatever it is. And, and it's coming because God wants the system destroyed. I mean, that's the other thing. Like if something's backed by divinity, you can do nothing. You can fight against nothing, your own demise. And people would live forever if there wasn't a time limit on your life. People, most people would, I mean, of course, there's suicide. People just give up and whatever. But the majority of people want to suck as much life out of their life as they possibly, as much time out of their life as possible. Not life out of their life. Most people are miserable and don't, give a shit. But don't want to die even in their own misery. Scared to death, but, everyone's going to die. Every system's going to implode. Every fucking empire is going to collapse. It's just inevitable. And this is what it looks like. This is what it fucking looks like. And, what are you doing right now to prepare for it? Probably absolutely nothing. Because, I mean, what the fuck, right? So that's why, I'm just telling it like it is. People can't stop the thing that's going to happen. So they're just like, oh, fuck it. I'll just stick my head in the sand. La, 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 pretend it's not happening. I mean, not just sheeple, people in the truth community. And so it's over. Well, fucking it's over. Okay, a few more things to get to here.
Inside here is 3 grams of shaped explosive. This is how it works.
All right, so I don't know if they're going to copyright this music. But this is supposed to be something from Palantir, where or some thunders out there, where they have a drone here that can kill you with explosives. much like the Israeli phone or exploding Israeli pagers. So, good times. Okay. A few things have happened. One was with Tulsi Gabbard. We're going to get to that first. There's a meme that Trump posted about Stephen Colbert. Today is Saturday, whatever it is, some day in May, probably in the 20s. 23rd day of May. I had zero idea what it was. I knew it was in the 20s. All right, here we go.
Joining me now, Democratic Representative Brendan Boyle of Pennsylvania,
Brendan
ranking
Boyle.
member of the House Budget Committee. Congressman, good to see you. Happy Memorial Day. So what happens now? Are you confident that lawmakers can put a stop to this so-called anti-weaponization fund?
Well, good to be with you. You have to take a step back for a moment and think about the last almost 18 months that Donald Trump has again been president. And what we have seen is time and time again, most of my Republican colleagues have just loyally, obsequiously gone along with whatever President Trump demands of them. And the few who have spoken out or not been with him 100% of the time, President Trump has gone after in Republican primaries and has defeated. So forgive me if I will remain a little bit skeptical.
Yeah, we forgive you, Brandon Boyles. Yeah, you can be forgiven.
When push comes to shove, Republicans really will finally and permanently stand up to this president when it comes.
Okay, of course, that's obvious. So I'd play you that. But here's the other part.
Once and for all, this ridiculous slush fund.
Congressman Boyle, if you can stand by, we have some breaking news, and I'd like to get your reaction to it on the other side. We have just learned that Tulsi Gabbard is resigning as the Director of National Intelligence. MS Now's Jake Traylor is following this for us from the White House. What can you tell us, Jake?
Yeah, Chris, this is something we learned of moments ago, according to a senior White House official as well as a senior administration official talking to MS Now, telling us that Tulsi Gabbard has resigned from her position as the director of the Director of National Intelligence. That is per a White House official and a senior administration official.
Who did this guy out of fucking high school? What's happening? Is he reporting for his local high school paper?
One White House official telling MS Now the reasoning for that resignation is coming due to Gabbard's attempt to support her husband as he battles a rare form of bone cancer. We are working.
The bone cancer. All right. So there are two things here. The first part, everything they do is performative, right? They never are genuine, sincere, all these politicians. They never say what they really do, think, mean, their real motivation for anything, why they do it. So, what the first guy said, but Democrats are the same way. These people never tell the truth. The second is they care about their careers more than they care about their families. You can tell what people's priorities are. And, like Tulsi Gabbard's been lying for Trump. I mean, she was originally a Democrat. And everything that she disliked about Democrats, making her leave the Democratic Party and support Trump has been doing worse, right? So she's been going along with his bullshit for 2 years now. And it became obvious to all of us. And so she's a lying sack of shit because she's a Trumper. And so there's another reason. She doesn't give a shit about her husband's cancer. These are career-oriented people. Like, you can tell people's motivation. You can tell how they react to certain things, like what level of upset they have, like, oh, you got cancer? Fuck, how's that going to affect me? Like this kind of thing. Like, she's one of those people. They're all those kind of people. So either they want to fire her, and this is an easier way. Oh, look, my husband's got cancer. Let's call it. I'll go. Let's do that. Or she realizes this is a sinking ship, and she's a rat trying to get off of it. But whatever her motivation, it isn't that. And one way to tell is when I woke up. So I knew about this last night. I woke up, there was a tweet on my phone. Like, I get these recommended things every morning. A lot of times they come from Candace Owens. This one came from Erica J. Kirk, the fakest of the fake. My heart is deeply with Tulsi and Abraham. Did you marry a guy named Abraham? Is it Abraham Gabbard or is it something else? Praying for God to surround them with strength, wisdom, and divine peace. Fear not, I am with you. Be not dismayed, For I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. Isaiah 41:10. You know, God would never say, for I am your God. Like, that was something God would never say. Right? Like, just like, I am your father, this kind of thing. Like, people say shit like that. I am your mother. Like, it's, I am your wife. These kind of things, right? Like, when you have to, it's like, it's something somebody says when they're, my ex used to stand, like, really close to people, like, uncomfortably close. And often off to the side, like, right by your shoulder. And, like, a weird way where your face would be, like, 4 inches from your face. And I don't like that. I like to be able to see people, and I like my space, and really uncomfortable for me. So I would move away, and she'd go, I'm your very own wife. I'm your very own mother, she'd say to my kids. She did it to my son, who was in a real creepy way. It was real creepy. But when people say something like that, I am your, it's always like a fucking I am your God. So, and, people die, like, just whether, so whatever that means. Yeah, okay, if you are with God, you're with God. But anyhow, Erica Kirk is one of those Christians that just posts fucking quotes, and she knows biblical quotes, but she's not a good Christian. She's not a religious person. She's not an honest person. And, and neither is Tulsi Gabbard and all these fake fucks. And, no, we believe, that's why a guy said when these Republicans stood up for Trump, they're doing it for a reason. They're not, or it's over for Trump, and they're just, finally realizing it's over. Like, just the things are going to happen. Or, Israel's going to bail, and whatever the fuck it is, right? So, but Tulsi Gabbard resigning is a thing, is a indication of something bad in Trump land. So Trump, he did a press conference, and I saw bits of it, and I will probably go through the whole thing if it isn't too long. It's really bad. It's some kind of campaign event, and he's lost his shit. But he posts this on Truth Social.
Back to our final broadcast, ladies and gentlemen.
His gay dance to this gay song. Look at him. Look at this gay dance to this gay song and all that stuff. Trump's posting this is like he got rid of Stephen Colbert, which is a fucked up thing to be doing when you're president. You shouldn't be doing that. Because he criticized you and made jokes about him. Like Stephen Colbert sucks. Not as bad as Trump sucks. And this should concern everybody, but dumb fuck Trumpers, they just, they're just worthless. I mean, worthless people. Just absolutely 100% fucking worthless. Because, again, I don't know what their other things, they're not just Trumpers, but, like in terms of, there's a point you got to realize the guy fucked you, and so, but that's just, look at this guy. Like he's celebrating this thing, and look at him. He thinks that makes him look good. Like, fuck. So, and there's one more thing here. Okay, so, they really want another pandemic. And I'm not going to do my another one meme, but, well, maybe I'll do it if I remember. I'm going to remind myself, but at the end of this thing. But I turned on CNN, it was on or whatever last night, and they were talking about the, some doctor or some bullshit story and all this stuff about Ebola. And, all these things. We can't have Ebola cases coming here, says Mark Rubio. So, they're pushing for Ebola here. And we'll see, it's probably a good time for them to fucking drop a pandemic because things are going south. And so, we'll see how this all fucking plays out. There's just always going to be something. How's Australia for Moose doing? All right. There's that. Let me wrap this thing up here with a voiceover.
There's going to be another pandemic.
Sure that we're ready because there will be another pandemic.
Another one, another one, another one. For the next pandemic, which will happen.
Okay, I talked about an episode in my last video. I had another sort of heart issue, kind of less severe, not as big a deal. but there's just stuff going on with it. And, maybe it'll resolve itself. I mean, I'm doing things to try to work to, get my health back, losing weight and just changing my, taking different supplements and doing various things. And, and of course there's the meditation on the heart. And, I talked about how everything's kind of all make-believe, we're in some kind of illusion. But, either way, my body just isn't working as well. Like it's, I don't know what my maximum capacity was when I was in my 20s or 30s or whatever, and I was functioning as a physical person in the highest level. And then you start going, it starts declining. And I'm, facing that. And, you kind of, just the way things have worked out for me, I don't trust the medical system. And, I'm just basically alone with it, right? I have some support in my life, some support systems, but, I'm just going through it alone, right? The biggest support system, the Sajmark system, the Sri Ram Chandra mission, the meditation, it's gone. Like I don't have any contact with any people in it. They all seem to be they've all kind of failed in one way or another and, are lost. And, it's kind of a bummer, that whole thing. And so I don't have my kids are gone and all those kind of things. And, I'm thinking about this stuff where, I don't miss my kids. Like, the way that everything went with my family, it was just, it sucked so bad, it crumbled. A lot of that had to do with my ex, but, I was a part of it and, we all part of it. And, there's just no connection there, right? I thought it was going to be the opposite. We'd planned for an intergenerational family farm, which, almost the exact opposite has happened. And so, I don't have a lot of things here. I have my wife and, the work we're doing in the YouTube channel, and that's about it. The Gratefullness meditation stuff. And that's what I have, right? That's, whatever's left, my dogs, the very limited, very limited type of social, network, whatever it is. And, right now I'm just demotivated by just human beings and the whole thing. Like it's just, I don't know how there could be a leap from what I see with most people to beyond what much farther beyond what I'm able to do spiritually. Right now as a, someone who is, pretty devoted to my spiritual practice, being a slacker and, whatever, but still, the people would somehow leapfrog over that. And, it can be done, but it's just not, right now, it's not practical or feasible. And so, it's, right now the human race is depressing. Like we're just mired in our own bullshit and it's just really bad. I'm a little bit tired today, so that makes it worse. And we're trying to fix our lawnmower. We have a 0-turn lawnmower and the transmission belt broke. And I looked at, it didn't break, it fell off. And I, for the life of me, could not figure out how to put it back on to where it would have to stretch. Like I took it off of one of the pulley. And one of the pulleys, and and I rehooked all the other parts, so I'm like, there's no way this is going to stretch back to that. It's, I don't even know how they got the fucking thing on or whatever. But I was dealing with that and, just, that's just the reality of moving forward. If you don't have the mechanical abilities to fix things, we had a toilet issue and, a few other things, water stuff. If you don't have the ability to fix things, and, I have some mechanical abilities and I can figure out things out, in the future, that's going to be everything. Like you're going to have practical knowledge and be able to read a manual and, without the internet, be able to, piece together things with, random parts from other things. And so, and I don't know if I'm up for any of that shit, right? It seems like, it's just too hard to do all those things. And maybe there'll be a network, a system, we have some, there's a possibility that people could, to live, near us and we have enough area to grow food and things like that. So there could be, maybe we have some people with skills and build a community. But even that's just kind of overwhelming. And I'm just, I'm just not feeling it, the whole thing. Like what we're facing when there's a post-apocalyptic situation, like my wife and I are prepared more than, I would say, 99% of the population, 95 or whatever. Like we have a better setup. Just, right now we could immediately start growing food. finishing up an underground greenhouse that can be used all year round, especially in the winter. And there'll be things there, and there's a structure, and I have some skills. I know how to milk a cow, and things like that. And there'll be whatever. But the problem is the older you get, the harder it is to adapt, and you just don't have the physical abilities to do lots of things. And like I said, my body's breaking down. And I was thinking about my heart. Like if it just stopped, it would suck in terms of death, whatever death. But it wouldn't be the worst way to go, right? Because you can get all these other things that you can go through a lot of pain and suffering, and then have your heart stop, right? So, I was just pacing around last night, going, I mean, I'm not thinking that this is my time, but if it is, it's just whatever. Like it just I don't have a lot of, if I was younger, I would be freaked out a lot more than I am. But it's just when you see that your body's not working the same way as it used to, it might not. You might not, and it might not stop. It's hard for a body to stop. Like your body's, put together for the long haul, and 70, 80 years. That's pretty good span of time. It's human beings used to live longer, and we have the potential for, at some point to live thousands of years or hundreds of years. But be that as it may, when your body starts breaking down, you're more aware of like, hey, it's not working as good as it used to, and it becomes obvious that it's going to get worse over time, and you're just going to eventually leave this planet. So there's all that. I'm going to take a look at the comments here in a moment. Maybe I'll have some more to add, but I got to take a little nap or something. I'm fucking exhausted. Anyways, just took a little, 15-minute nap or something. So, most of the time I don't think about the toiling aspect, just the overwhelm of the being in a collapsing system. Like I prepare and do whatever I'm supposed to do or can do. Right now in our farm, doing what we've done, for years when I have time, and then the making the videos, and then just plugging along with my spiritual practice, and it's. Things are going to go south when they go south. They're already going south, and that is what it is. But when you look at it, like things are bad. They're bad because human beings are not prepared for what's about to happen. We're so dependent on this system, and people have no idea. Like people have no idea the level of difference that your life will be in the future. Your lifestyle and everything that goes with it. And I would be shocked to see very many people be able to make that transition, right? There is a survival instinct, but then, there also is a degrading aspect of that, right? The system is there, and people don't realize how much the system protects them from criminal behavior and other things. And with that, the system, there's no system there anymore, and the way people behave is especially crazed out people who are off their medications and flipping out and, desperate. And so, so there's all that. So it's not a good time to be a human being. Okay, so there's this comment here. I love listening to you, but like all of us, you don't know everything. Your take on Michael Jackson is uninformed. Plenty of evidence that exonerates him. Sad you don't know. Also, this is flat Earth doesn't have a model, so it's true. It's not true. Earth is round. Question: what's your model of Earth? Just curious. Thanks for your time. Yeah, flat Earth's a fucking you don't back up your disputing Michael Jackson quote with flat Earth bullshit, right? It's not. The Earth isn't flat. Like the fucking stupid shit that comes from the dumb fuck Old Testament believing people who are locked into the Old Testament, who haven't confronted their own bullshit religion, right? So that's just there. Regardless of, this is a simulation. There's plenty of things to say. You could disprove the Earth being round. That doesn't mean it's flat, right? So that's, the flat Earth is all about disproving the round Earth theory. But in terms of Michael Jackson, there is a video, there's an interview that he does with Martin Bashir. And he talks about how great it is and what greater gift is there to share your bed with a, 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old, 12-year-old boys. That having sleepovers and having boys sleep over was something that was wrong with it. It's great. Like he's, what's wrong with it? What's wrong with it? Go watch the clip. There's no fucking defending that, right? Because it's weird as fuck. And you can say there's all this stuff to exonerate him, all the bullshit that's been put out by people. He's there telling you, just like Donald Trump said, Jeffrey Epstein's a terrific guy. And he likes women young. That's all you need to know, right? Like when somebody says something like that, and then, he said that long before Jeffrey Epstein was arrested and all that shit happened. He said in 2002, and then he had a falling out with Jeffrey Epstein in 2005 or 9 or something over some land stuff. Nothing to do with their, and then there's his weird ass, birthday message that he sent to him. That whole fucking thing. But there's lots of evidence about Trump, and it's there. And you can say it's circumstantial, but he's admitting. It's very hard to get to people to admit what's inside of them that they don't want you to see. Because they don't even want it. They can't say the words. They're ashamed of it. It's some part of themselves that they're denying exists, right? Like people have things that they just, anything that's bad like that, like the stuff that they're involved in, they know that normal people won't be able to understand, and they themselves don't really take ownership of what they're not conscious of what they're doing. They do it, they sort of black it out, pretend they're not doing it, have some kind of psychological mechanism to make them feel like a good person, even though they know they're doing weird fucking shit. But when people admit to stuff, just like when Bill Cosby admitted that when he was a kid, everyone wanted a Spanish fly, which was some kind of bullshit thing you saw in the back of magazines like comic books or something like that. And it was something that if you slipped into a girl's drink, she would, be some sexual deviant, or, her appetite for sexuality, whatever it was. Like it would make her really horny and you'd have your way with her. And he had a whole comedy bit, and he bragged about it or talked about it with great enthusiasm with Larry King. And so then he gets accused of date rape, using a date rape drug. And, there's no defending that when you admit to liking that idea in the first place in terms of Spanish fly. And that, every boy wanted to get it, and it was such a big thing. And man, it's just a little bit like a drop that would fit on the head of a pin was enough, that whole thing. So you can watch the Larry King interview. But Michael Jackson was on record saying he liked to have sleepovers with little boys. And he liked to have these relationships with these little boys without their parents being there, taking them on trips, staying for weeks at his house with him, sleeping in his bed, doing these weird things with kids. And that's in itself a weird fucking thing. It's indefensible. And whatever else you want to say. And then you have these kids and their stories. And, so anybody who's trying to tell you that Michael Jackson, you're the same kind of thing as a person trying to tell you that Trump is good. They're admitting to you that they're fucked in the head. They're weird fucking people. They tell you, and they give you, enough evidence. And then these accusations come up, and they're obviously fucking guilty, right? Because there's no other explanation. There's fucking, whatever there. I mean, yeah, there could be some kids there that didn't get abused, that, not doing the money grab thing or whatever. Like they're not, But whatever it was, and, the parents are complicit. But he should never have been having sleepovers with little kids. It's a weird thing. Like that's a psychological deviant thing, right? For a grown-ass man to want to have kids sleep over his house constantly. He built this fucking weird-ass amusement park. Like, he was a weird fucking guy. He had huge psychological issues, right? And so whatever, the stuff that isn't what you don't think is provable or not, I mean, you have to side on the fact that he was a weird fucking guy doing weird fucking things with kids, right? He admitted to, like, just the evidence, it's there. And so, it's whatever you think is the disputing evidence is because you want to believe it. All these people like Candace Owens and people like that. I mean, she's defending, that guy, Andrew Tate, right? Who clearly is a fucked up person, human trafficking piece of shit. And, all the rest of these people. And, some of them might be innocent and, legitimately the government or whatever making up shit, but the majority of them are guilty of something because they're all fucking a part of this weird club, and everyone in it does demonic shit. Like it's just, the people who seek fame and hoarding wealth and all these things, they lose their shit. Like people who are wealthy and famous and powerful, they can't handle the power, and they get into deviant shit. They mistreat people and all those things. I was talking about this with my wife, saying, when the system breaks down, I wonder how long it'll take people before they, people who are in a better position, have weapons or, form some kind of mob, turn other people into slave labor as soon as there's no more machines and shit. How quickly people will revert to slavery, right? Because, people aren't more moral now and they don't know better. And when the system breaks down, there's no, there's no government stopping them. Slavery will come back just very quickly, and then all the things that go with it, right? Because people feel that way. People want money and power. They can control people with their money and power, turn other people into their servants, into their slaves, and it's just paying them. Like there was in India, there was some wealthy guy, and they're so easy to have servants. Many people had 5, 6 different servants. We had a young woman used to come over and clean our house after. Well, first, while my ex and I were there, and then when she left, I hired somebody, and I paid her $70 a month to come in and clean the house every day and then cook a meal. And she was, gouging me, right? Like fucking, because I was, white and American. So, and I kind of didn't like doing it, but just the circumstances were there, and it's just there's so many people in India. There's cheap labor, but there was one guy. He had, someone told me that guy doesn't even put his own shoes on. He's got servants that dress him. They have these people who dress the elitist people, and all these people who have money and power. They start, having people do the basic things for them, right? Feed them like they're fucking, whatever it is. It's just how people are. So, yeah, Michael Jackson's guilty, whatever. You just see he was a weird fucking guy. You think he was some kind of noble person? He had huge psychological issues. He was somebody who was completely fucked. He was, really messed up individual, just from his conversations and his lifestyle. Somebody asked me, can you re-upload the Full House as a Gateway to Hell videos? I guess they wouldn't be flagged now, but I don't even know where they are. I have everything stored, but, I have no interest in that. Right? My Full House days. So that's, those are 10-year-old videos, 2015, 2016, maybe some of them in 2017, but, yeah, so I have no, interest in that. I don't even know other people would, but yeah, that's not happening. I have all these privatized videos, and I could make them available to members at some point, just, open them back up. There'd be a lot of videos for people to sift through. And I don't know if I still have some of the Full House videos on there, but, I'm not sure they would age very well, but whatever. And, who gives a fuck, right? The whole thing about Michael Jackson, if you have an emotional investment in any of these things, this is the wrong channel for you, because you're never going to know every detail about everything a person does, and people are often defined by their worst moments or worst tendencies, which is 100% unfair, but who gives a shit what other people think? None of it matters, right? Whatever people think. I would think the majority of people who watch these videos here, who come across my YouTube channel, don't like me or don't, think whatever negative things. And, based in the comments, the negative comments, they don't understand me. They don't really, in terms of their ability to critique me or to say you're this, that, or the other thing that's bad. But I have plenty of flaws. You know what I mean? It's not like just because they're too stupid to figure those things out Doesn't mean I'm a good person or perfect, right? And just because they don't like what I say and get butthurt and say some, mean shit or make up something in their own mind to make me into a villain or a bad person doesn't mean anything either, right? Because opinions don't mean shit. There's an accountability, which is a spiritual accountability. Either everything's random or there's a plan. I say this over and over again. If there's a plan, then everything's accounted for. The plan has to be complete. There's a divine system where everything is recorded. And that's the teachings that I, adhere to in the Sajmark system. But let's say that's wrong and it's just, random. It's chaos. Then who gives a fuck? If it's chaos, it doesn't matter. Then there is, there's either something out there that a guiding principle, a divine consciousness, where everything is accounted for and there's divine consequences and, whatever, all the things I talk about. Or it's just chaos. And if it's chaos, then you can't complain about chaos, right? Because there's no fairness in chaos. Chaos is random. Chaos is, without some accountability, without justice, without anything, without order. You can't complain when random things hit you, right? If you live in a planet where it rains fucking rocks and you get hit in the head with rocks all the time, you're like, oh, this sucks. Fuck this, this sucks. Yeah, well, that's the planet you live on. It's chaos, right? There's nothing protecting you, right? I mean, either you're protected or you're not, right? Every time you walk through the forest, there's these things called widowmakers, which are trees that are about to fall over or limbs that are about to fall on top of you. And the forest is great. You're out in the forest, you feel good, it's natural. But, there's things all the time. Every time you get into a car, there's a chance that you are going to get into an accident, right? Every time you get into a plane, there's, the more you fly, the more likely it is that your plane crashes. I mean, there's things that happen, right? There's just, there's cause and effect, and then there's just things that seem random. And that's just, that's part of the system. You can't be upset, feel like a victim, because you get into a car accident. Everyone gets into a car accident. 77% of people will get into a car accident at least one time in their life, right? So, think about that. Like, that's just, that's almost everybody, right? 77% is a overwhelming majority of people. And I would think there are a lot of people who don't have cars and don't get into cars and, or live very short lives. But, I mean, it's almost guaranteed that you're going to be a part of some kind of a car accident sometime or another. Anyways, like, that's what we have going for us, right? Either there's a plan and God is in charge of everything, then there's no reason to complain because everything comes from God, or it's random and, there's no reason to complain because it's fucking random. Like, we're going to complain to, hey, this chaos isn't working. This chaos isn't fair. Like, it just makes no sense. Anyways, let me wrap this one up here. Only spirituality will save this world. It's Paramato, definitely important for the apocalypse. And the ascension, everyone have a blessed day and be grateful.